My name is Christy Rogers. I'm Assistant Superintendent for Jefferson County Public Schools. We oversee academies of Louisville, career and technical education, and adult education, just trying to work to pipeline students to college and or career paths through pathways in high school.
According to the U.S. Agency for International Development, some 61 million girls between the ages of 6 and 14 worldwide are not in school. Were you aware of how large that number is? What do you think we can do or have been doing to lower that number?
You know, I think being in America, in the United States, that maybe you don't focus on that, but you know that third world countries, war-ridden countries deep in Africa and Somalia and Haiti, there's just a culture. It's really directed with culture and poverty, where young girls are not valued. Their chores are more important. It's early pregnancy, and they're just not held in regard. Education is not valued there. So I don't know that I was aware of that large number, and the only thing I know, the big agencies that serve, there's a lot of nonprofit and religious organizations and agencies that try to impact those countries through services and education and help economically, because there's a big correlation there. But it's just a cultural issue that's been in play for many, many, many years, hundreds of years, and it'll take a long time for the growth of the country before we see the girls viewed differently in those countries. But I hope and I believe that they do make progress.
The USAID also states that if 10% more adolescent girls attend school, the country's GDP increases by an average of 3%. If a female's right to a quality education could only benefit the country she lives in and its economy, why do you think so many women are shut out or held back?
I just think it's the culture. It is the culture of these underdeveloped nations. 50% of their population are not allowed to be educated. They're only seen as they have babies. They're workers. They're not really viewed equally. But you're right, it doesn't make sense. That's why those countries struggle. They just, running water is an issue, clean food, health care. They just haven't developed like they should, or they're just in such civil war or extreme poverty. It's very correlated, and it's just unfortunate. But I hope through faith organizations again and nonprofit and good organizations that are trying to raise that level and support, that our girls will have a better life and improve. But it is a sure fact. I mean, I think if you really dig in there, you'll see those countries where women are just not valued.
Women who finish a secondary education are less likely to become pregnant as teenagers, marry young, suffer domestic violence, and have less children overall. One educated woman can break the poverty cycle for an entire family. Can you give your opinion on how academic achievement completely changes the lives of women? Have you seen this in action or on the contrary?
Well, as a public educator, I've seen a lot of kiddos that say they're the first college going in their whole family, and often they're the girls. Right now, our girls are outperforming our boys, and I do believe definitely that girls who make it through college and have that degree are empowered and they're inspired, and then they have the financial capacity to change their lifestyle. They don't depend on men, where I'd say that started to shift in the 70s and 80s and 90s, more girls going to college. But, it's not just about going to college and getting the degree. It's now, do we have equal pay when we get it? And we are seeing movement in non-traditional fields for women, more women engineers, more women business executives, and we're breaking out of the mode of just being a teacher or a nurse. For me, I come from a long line of educators, so my grandmother was a college graduate. I'm really fortunate, but a lot of the kids I serve, they're the first to go to college in their families, and I do see a direct correlation for young women to be independent financially and to see their success rate skyrocket. But we still are striving for equal pay. I think women are not paid equally in many fields, and there's not a heavy presence. When I work in the business industry right now, even when I go to meetings today, in 2018, it's predominantly dominated by middle-aged men. And so women have to continue to break those barriers and take positions and reach. We need women in aviators, women in engineering, women in non-traditional fields, and they need to be paid equally.
Society gives the impression that girls lack potential, which proves stereotypes and narrow-minded thinking. This puts a negative stigma that girls think that they're not capable or do not deserve an education. How have American school systems positively impacted girls and reassured them of their potential?
You know, when you ask that question, I think the one big legislation that passed in my lifetime was Title IX. And when the Title IX federal legislation for equal spending in athletics, it transformed my experience. I was able to go to college, and then seeing a high school have to address young athletic opportunities equally for girls as they did boys. So it's, you know, before you were a cheerleader and it was all male dominated sports, and that's just not that long ago. But Title IX was it impacted me personally, and it has impacted thousands of young women across our country. Young girls who play sports are less likely to have babies. They're more confident, they're strong, and they're capable of going on to post-secondary. And the volume of young girls who've gone to college through athletics, but Title IX was a big difference, a game changer really for girls. But girls are going to college more than our boys right now, and they're outperforming in high school. They're coming to college better prepared. They're less likely to be disruptive. Boys still outperform us in engineering and math. I think that's a stereotype we still have to work on, but we are seeing great strides in our girls.
Locally, do you see more high school females investing in college or career readiness? What careers do you see female students heavily interested in?
Well, that's what I do in JCPS, is college and career readiness, and we have been exploring pathways and setting them up in every high school in JCPS. And, you know, our best welder is a girl. So we're starting to really actively recruit and promote non-traditional participation, both gender, ethnicity, race. And it's really, you know, I don't want to see, when we have a teaching pathway, see it filled up with all girls. We're really working for girls in engineering. We're trying to grow IT, coding and programming, computer science for girls and boys. But there's a lot of interest. Manufacturing, healthcare, and IT are the three big ones in our city. There's a huge workforce demand, and girls, our business partners light up when we say we have active girls in the pipeline. They seem to be right now, believe it or not, are more reliable, more focused, more driven for those positions. But it is exciting. But I do still feel like we have a lot of girls heavily interested in nursing. You know, it's still a heavy popular pathway for girls, less non-traditional. But you can't be what you can't see, and we got to make sure we bring in women pilots, women engineers, women leading companies, women in skilled trades, women builders. There's all types of associations. So when women achieve these standings in these career areas, they've got to reach back and help the next generation of young girls achieve it. But we are growing and we're strong, and Academies of Louisville is our program that we work on, and our girls are thriving in that. It's exciting.